Okay, I have, I think yesterday I got some people submitting their first run on the final project. So that's good. Today we're not going to meet for very long. We're just going to meet, all I really want to know today is, do you have any questions so far on what you've done on this video card game war in MATLAB? Any questions at all?
Not for me.
Okay. So I haven't had a chance to look at what was turned in yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, but there's been a couple of days when people have turned things in. So what we're going to do today is just talk about different ways that you can continue on with this. Like I said, I didn't look at it, so I don't know how far you got, but I'm hoping that you were able to at least look at some solutions to the problems with that code. Were you able to find a solution to the problem they had with it ranking the face cards in the wrong way or anything like that?
Yet.
You did find one, or you did not?
I have not.
Okay. Well, then I'll give you a clue. If you go back to the website where that card game code was found, there are some comments on that website in that little blog where other programmers are giving this guy some feedback on how to fix the problem. And you're more than welcome to use that. You're welcome to use the internet, anything you want. And that's really the first thing we got to do is we got to try to write some code for this program for the game war that will work so that when you have a jack go up against a jack go up against an ace, for example, that it works out correctly, because on that website it talks about the glitches or the bugs that are in that program. So the first thing to really do is to get the bugs out of that program. And if you haven't done that, you need to get that done and turn in a new program for that. And that was essentially the assignment for last week. If you have done that already, then the next step in the assignment is to start to create your graphical user interface. Now, I can't remember exactly everything I said in the Blackboard homework assignment. Let's go look at it really quick. I do have it posted. So let's look at our class today. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. So if we go to the Blackboard here. So the assignment that we wanted to do last week involved, we watch the link of the video that teaches the card game of war. We'll design a card game using a flow chart. So first we're going to design it just by doing flow charting. And then the second one is this link to this MATLAB code. There are bugs in the code, and I want you to study the code, understand how it works, and make it work better. So this week specifically, we need to fix the bugs in this code. Right here it says, on this page, it says everything works. It deals the cards, creates and shuffles the deck just fine, displays each card perfectly. When it comes to actually comparing the cards, it works for the most part. Two number cards against each other work, such as an 8 and a 6. When a face card is introduced to the mix, it does not work well. The ace, no matter what I do, if an ace and the 10 are pitted against each other, the program will side with the 10. The ace doesn't win numbers. And if you go down here, it talks about how to fix that problem. And so there's a couple of different functions that he's using in the first version here. He's using a rep mat, for example, and then he's using random permeation. Those are functions in MATLAB that he's using. But this guy down here, in the very first comment here, talks about how to fix that. And so you can use these. You can use these. You can use these ideas to fix this problem. And even explains how the reason that he's coming up with this problem. And it's because the character A has a ASCII value, he calls it, ASCII, that's an ASCII value. In other words, A has a number that tells the computer what it is. And when you compare that number that represents the A to the number 10, it turns out the number for the letter A is smaller. So you have to fix that problem, and they talk about how to fix that problem. And a good way to fix it. And that's going to be the first assignment for this week that I'll put in our new assignment, is to actually make that code, your best code that you've made, make it so that the ace beats the king, or the king beats the queen, and all the face cards beat the 10, the 9, the 8, the 7, all the way down to 2. You want to make sure that that works. And then the next step is to change the code so that it doesn't just play the game all at once and show you who wins, but it plays it one round at a time. So you're going to have to introduce some kind of a graphical user interface for the player to choose to deal the cards, for example. You might have a button that says deal the cards. You do not have to use the guide version of the graphical user interface. Remember, previously in this class, we learned how to put in push buttons into a function so that you can choose things and you can make things happen. And that's an easier way to do it. If you want to use guide and use the GUI interface program that we've used recently, you can. Just requires a little bit more work and understanding. But however you do it, I want you to be able to prompt the user to do something so that it deals the cards, and then it deals the cards again and again and again. Which also suggests that you're going to have a loop in there, some kind of a for loop, for example, or a while loop or something. So you're going to have to do some code there, and it's going to be a little bit complicated. It's going to be a little more work. But by the end of this week, what I want is a working program for the game of war that has the bugs fixed so the cards work against each other in the right way. And I want some graphical user interface included that involves some kind of a selection interface where the user tells the program to deal the next 2 cards. And so that's the next assignment. And besides that, if there are no questions, we don't have to even stay in class. You can get started on your work right away. So do you have any questions?
No, I think I got it.
Okay, so I will post that homework assignment in Blackboard today, and you'll have that to go by. In the next week, we'll have one last thing to do before the class is over, essentially. So the next time we meet, we'll talk about 2 more things, and that is those 2 things are scoring the game and graphically representing the cards. And if we can get those 2 things done, then we'll have a complete game and we'll be done with the class. So, and then the last week of class, which is the first week of May, is our finals week. And we do not necessarily have to meet that week, but I would like you to have a completed program for this game. And I would like you to turn that into me so I can take a look at it and see how it works. Are we good to go?
Sounds good.
All right, you have a good week. I'll post that homework assignment readily here, and we'll be good. We'll be done. Have a good week.